So if you're looking for a quick and easy way for actually getting set up with Claude Code, then you have come across a jackpot of a video here, because that's exactly what I'm going to be showing you. This is the simplest way to actually get started with Claude Code. So first of all, head over to claude.com/download and actually install it onto your computer. This is the only way you can go ahead and access Claude Code. You can't actually access it through the desktop app until you've added a remote feature, but that's a little bit more advanced, so we'll only cover that later on in this video or a next video. And go ahead and launch it, and then I'll see you in Claude Code once it loads up. Once you've launched your Claude, this is what it looks like, and you've logged in, so it knows your name. It has a little nice greeting for you there, for example, good evening, Ben. If you go over to the left hand side at the top, then you go to co-work, then Claude Code. That's what we're going to be working in today. So go ahead and launch Claude Code, and we can get started with actually building out our Claude Code project. If you're missing that Claude Code feature, then it might be because you're not actually yet on a paid plan. So if you go over to the Claude pricing, we can see here that the free plan gives you access to all the basic Claude things. Like you get the access to the app, the Android app, the iOS app, or on your desktop. What we just downloaded, you get access to the memory, the ability to do the web searches. But it's actually when we go ahead and look at the Claude Pro or Max plans, that's when we look at the more usage, access to the Claude co-work, the Claude Code, the design, the Claude science, and this is what we need to look at. So you can try Claude. It's only £15 a month for the Pro plan, or if you're a bit more of a power user, then it's going to be £90 for 5 times more usage. I myself am a Max user, and I have never hit my limits as of yet using the Max plan, whereas for the Pro plan, I was paying £15 a month and I was continuously hitting my limits, and I just couldn't be asked to wait for my limits to reset. So I went ahead and upgraded to the Max plan. So yeah, the free plan won't give you access to Claude Code, so you'll need to look at upgrading just for the £15 to get yourself access to that. So let's hop back into Claude Code and actually start setting up a project to start working on. So now we're back in the Claude Code view, and this is where we have access to view our sessions, our messages, the total tokens, our peak hours. Our peak hours are 8 p.m. and I'm currently recording this at 11 p.m. So it's a perfect time for me to actually get this recorded. And we've also got a 30-day tracker and a 7-day tracker. And we also have our model use as well. So my main usage is obviously on Opus 4.8. Fable 5 only came out again a few days ago. So I have been using a lot of credits, as you can see in there. And then Haiku 4.5 is a cheaper model that Claude has, but the two main ones we'll be looking at, I suppose 3. Fable 5, which is the limited access for the moment, is the most powerful and most recent model. Opus 4.8, which is going to be the model you'll probably end up using dominantly. And there is also Claude Sonnet 5, which is a slightly less powerful model, but it's also a great model for using less credits. But let's dive in and let's actually start building out a project. So what you want to do first, you need to actually connect it to a folder. So Claude Code works locally on your device. It doesn't save things to the cloud until you go ahead and actually connect to those external softwares, which we'll get on in later videos because they're just a little bit more advanced. I'm just trying to understand the basics right now. So down the bottom here, you see mine says number 1 cookie dessert right now, but you go in there, open a folder, and just go ahead and create a folder. So that's what I'm going to do now. So once you've gone ahead and created that folder, it's going to ask you to trust the workspace. So you go ahead and trust the workspace. And now that is it. You have set up your Claude Code and you are ready to code. So for this example, I don't really know what I'm going to show you. So I'm actually going to head over to joindps.io. I'm going to go ahead and log in. I'm actually going to find a great example to actually build for you guys so you can take a look at all the capabilities of Claude Code. So let's go ahead and actually plan out an idea. So I'm going to speak to Claude, speak to this AI right here. I'm actually going to be using Claude Sonnet 4.6 for this. So let's have a look. I'm looking to build a digital product, either a software or a digital product that I can sell to consumers. I can promote on TikTok, on Instagram, to build a online business. So you can go ahead and just list me out some great ideas, and just remember that I'm a beginner. So let's see what it suggests, and maybe one of these we can actually go ahead and build. So maybe a simple habit tracker or a niche calculator tool for like tracking macros, things like this. I think that might be a good one actually. So we might build a macro tracker. I think I'm going to go with that one there. So let's hop back into Claude Code and we're literally going to set that. So I'm looking to build a simple macro tracker to help me track my macros, track my meals, and stay on track with my diet. Let's have a conversation right now, planning out this idea. So I want you to ask me at least 10 questions to go ahead and build out this first draft. So we've got our prompt lined up. Before we go ahead and do anything, we're just going to have a look at the few options we have down the bottom here. So first of all, we have auto. So this is sort of what or how Claude responds to you. So auto mode, it'll obviously ask you, or it'll take all of these into account when it asks you. So it might ask you for permissions to do some edits and documents. It might accept edits for you. You can put it into plan mode, which I'm actually going to go ahead and do right now, or you can leave it in auto and it will sort of have a look at what you have asked and then adapt. So if I was to press enter now, it would put itself into plan mode because I've asked it to ask me 10 questions. And then it'll like give me the 10 questions obviously to then respond to. And then bypass permissions. This is something that I have enabled, but if you are new to Claude Code, you won't have this enabled. And I won't go into this right now because you kind of need to understand what you're doing before you dive into bypassing the permissions. So let's put it into plan mode. This example, I'm not actually going to be using Fable 5 because you might not be watching this when Fable 5 is out. So I'm just going to use Opus 4.8, and I'm going to leave the thinking effort. I'm actually going to put it on extra. But obviously, the higher the effort is, the more credits you will then go ahead and use. So just think of this accordingly to the plan you're on and your usage limits. If you ever want to go ahead and actually check your usage limits, then go ahead to pop over to the side menu, head over to the max plan, go to your settings, and then you've got usage right here. So as you can see, I've got loads that I can use. So I am okay to go. So now we've set this up, we're going to let it run and it's going to ask us those 10 questions. We'll answer those 10 questions. I'll show you as I answer them and then we'll see what it can produce. Perfect. So Claude has actually now come ahead and given us the questions. So I'm just going to go ahead and answer them. So my goal is I can stay on track. Okay, so that's quite a big prompt and I've just used Whisperflow to literally dump it all in there. So we're going to go ahead and give it all of that information. It's now going to run through what I've just given it, and hopefully now after this it's going to give us a nice draft, or at least first product for us to go ahead and look at and then go ahead and tweak. Okay, so it's actually come back and asked me a few more questions. So you want to photograph nutrition labels when logging food. How should that work in the first draft? To be honest, it doesn't really need to work in the first draft. So this doesn't need to work in the first draft. So I'm actually going to ignore that one right now. So cloud sync from day one, or sync or local first and sync later, which is what we're going to do. It's a lot easier to actually get started and start visualizing what we are building. What should make the first cut of every draft? I'm going to say the core logging and plus favorites, because that'll be just really useful for us to sort of have those quick adds there all set up for foods and meals that we go ahead and eat all the time. Because if you're on a diet, then you're probably eating some of the same meals every time. So it's just easy to stay on track, isn't it? So let's go ahead and actually see what it comes out with. And I'll pop back in a sec once it is done its thinking. Perfect. So hop back in right now just to show you that down here, we're now at the creating stage. It has gone through here, has looked at all of my sort of things that I've given it. It's just listed out what it's heard from me, like I'm 23, 103 kilos, 180 centimeters, fairly active, the targets, etc. It's actually gone ahead and like from my stats, the target lands around 2,400 calories a day. So it's going to auto suggest that with a macro split, like logging, manual entries with the optional to photograph nutrition labels, enter the weight, etc. Like structure, overview, weights. So this is the plan right here. It is giving me, so you could go ahead and check this plan, and now it's giving me the option to accept or accept and auto mode. So for this, I'm going to go ahead and accept an auto mode. If you also wanted to revise the plan, you've looked at the plan, it's maybe not quite what you wanted, then you've also got the option to reject and revise. For this example, we're just going to go ahead and accept and auto. So now what it's going to do is going to go through the plan, make sure it doesn't miss anything that we've just spoken about, creating that first sort of draft, that first visual design for us to actually go ahead and look at. So hopefully it's going to optimize it for light and dark mode, depending on what the system is, as well as the mobile and desktop versions. So let's hop back in a minute once it's done thinking and actually created that first sort of visual element for us to actually look at. As you can see there, we've been thinking, or it's been processing for 21 minutes, but we've just seen the sort of the local host, which is it's showing the code base on our local device now appears. I want to close down the plan, and yeah, we can start to see the actual macros app on the left hand side. We've got that modern sort of clean design that we asked for, with sort of easy progress trackers for our daily calorie intake, our protein goals, our carbs, our fats. We can look at it by meal, we can look at all the items as well. It's actually still working, so I don't think some of these buttons might not work yet. Oh, there we go, we can go ahead and add food. So we can add the name of the food, like what time of the day we had it, the macros that we're measuring, the calories, protein. Like, look, this is all from just one prompt. I mean, we gave it a prompt, it asked us a few questions, we answered those questions, and this is what it has produced for us within an hour or within half an hour. So it's pretty crazy what you can actually go ahead and do with Claude Code. So this is at the moment like just the front end. The back end will end up covering in extra videos, because there's so much we can actually go into and breaking things down just to make it super easy for you to actually go ahead and follow. So at the bottom as well, we can see we've got today, we've got the favorites, which will show our favorites, and then obviously the settings, I suppose that's for, there we go, we can update everything, change our goal, change our target. So we can do everything that you kind of want from a macros tracker, nutrition tracker app, all within inside of Claude Code. That's actually still building out. So like, as we can see, like in the logs, I even took a screenshot here just to see that the app was working. But like if you go back in the logs, we can see that like what it was doing. Like it was adding the favorites page. It was like updating things, like now the meal section list. So it tells you what section it's on. Then it'll get to a point where it actually then loads up the preview for you on the right hand side. And like, look, it's using the screenshot again just to preview what it is built to make sure that it's kind of to spec. So once it's actually done, we can actually go ahead and have a look at the whole sort of version of the app. But I'm pretty happy with how it is looking right now. And the next steps from this would be going ahead and making those small tweaks to maybe the design, maybe to the logo, maybe to wording, buttons, adding features, things like this, which we can all do just by prompting it. So let's actually wait for it to finish. We'll pop back in a moment once it is done with this prompt, and then we'll go ahead and make some changes. We'll go ahead and change up something little just to show you how easy it is to actually go ahead and make the changes to whatever you're using Claude Code to build. Perfect, so we can see that the changes it has done. We're now looking at it in dark mode. I have just thrown up the icon for me. I'll just close that down. Yeah, so we can see, let's open up the dev server. So we're now looking at the software on localhost in light mode, but like from the beginning, this is what it looked like. And then we go ahead and add foods. So I'll put chicken. Let's just say it was 340 calories and 60 grams of protein. Let's just put some random numbers in, add to log. There we go, we have some example data there, and we can now quick add to our breakfast. We can now quick add to our lunch. We can now quick add to our dinner and as snacks. So I actually put this in as a snack, so you can also click into it and obviously change it to whichever part of the day it was. We've also got our favourites here. So I suppose if we were looking at the chicken, we've also changed that per serving. We can like calculate the calories just by clicking that button. I'm not quite sure what that actually does, but yeah. So if we go to favorites, we can add favorites. We can add our favorite meal. So just add the amount of. So I suppose if you're cooking for like a few people, or you're meal prepping, and you know that like the batch of food that you were creating was X amount of calories, X amount of grams of protein. So let's just say it was 400 grams of protein, 400 calories, 400 carbs, and 400 fats. And if we then put that to, I don't know, 4 servings, and saved that, it would then, when we go through and add it to our meal, so we could select, we just had 1 serving of that, and then it would calculate it as 100 grams of everything. So if we go to here, click fave, change that to 1, click enter. So there are a few tweaks there that we might need to do, but ultimately it's pretty cool what we've just got ahead and created. So let's go ahead and just make a simple change right now. So I do like sort of how it's come out. There's not many things I'd actually want to change from this, so maybe we'll just do that. So if I go ahead and save one of my favorite meals, and I say that that meal was like 4 servings, but then I want to go ahead and add it later as 1 serving, can you make sure that I can do that and it will update the macros accordingly? So if I was cooking for a family of 4, or if I was meal prepping 4 meals, and I save that as my favorite meal, and then I go ahead and add it to my macros, it then calculates the right calories for what I've had for 1 serving. And we'll go ahead and click go. So this is just one simple tweak that I'm doing. It's probably take a few minutes to actually go ahead and do and think about. I might even throw me some questions back because it's in auto mode. So let's just have a look and see what changes it goes ahead and does. If it throws us any questions back, then I'll go ahead and show you and we'll answer that as well. Okay, so let's hop back in. So it's gone ahead and thought and been working now for another 10 minutes. So I'd like to mention as well, on the left hand side, or on the right hand side even, we did lose the preview. So if you want to bring the preview back here, instead of like looking at it in your browser like this, and you can do by click on the little globe up here, it will show the servers that are running. So we can go there and see the micro tracker and go and open it up. So yeah, if we close this down, go to favorites, obviously it added us 2 favorites. There's some mock-up data. So if we click in there, we can obviously see like how many servings this does, the calories, the protein, etc. So if we save that, head back to today, we'll go ahead and add that for dinner. Click our chicken and rice meal prep, per serving recipe, how many servings it does, and then like this entry will be 500 calories because it's 2000 divided by 4. So we'll go ahead and add that to our log, and then it shows us. This is how simple Claude Code is. Obviously, this is a first design, so actually getting the data saved is a whole nother task we will cover in the next video. But if you're looking to build something like this to sell as a digital product, to sell to existing clients, even to sell as a service, maybe it's not like a macros tracker, but maybe it is something else that was suggested, like a Chrome extension. I've built those, they are fairly simple as well, or linking things to like Notion or Airtable, PDF guides, Canva templates, like, or any of this stuff can be built inside of Claude Code, and is something that I've helped people do and have made many of things myself. So if you look for that, go ahead and click the first link in the bio. You can book your free strategy call with myself, answer a few questions, and I can see if I can actually help you build and take your idea into a online business. Even if you have an existing idea or an existing product and you need to scale that, then go ahead and book a call too, because I can help you, myself and my business partner Charlie can help you do that. in just under an hour, we've gone ahead and built a operational macros tracker that we can use personally. And if we're looking to take this to the next step, we'll be then looking to link this to a online server or somewhere to actually save, an online cloud to actually save our data. And that's what we can be covering in the next video. So if I haven't already, it will be linked just here on the screen. But for now, I'll see you in the next video.